And the last one, case studies. So in this situation, you're not just describing the culture like in ethnography, and you're not explaining a particular social process and then giving a name for it and identifying the mechanisms like in grounded theory. In this case, case studies, you're usually focusing on a historical event, something that happened. Maybe it was the tenure of a certain leader in a company or a principal of a school or something. Maybe it was an actual event, something that happened on a day, or a rise and fall of success over a decade of maybe some company or something. So the actual event can be really condensed or over time, but you're focusing on something that happened. Not necessarily something that happens, right? Like in grounded theory, but something that happened. And what do we have to learn from that? What can we take away from it? What are the principles to be taught? So that way, if people find themselves in a similar situation in the future, we can think back to, well, here are some historical examples of when that happened. And here were some of those outcomes to these particular choices. So maybe we can make different ones. Right? So it's kind of a teaching approach, really. And that's what makes it so popular, the case study method of teaching in business schools, law schools, social work, police training, a lot of stuff like that. So to our 3 students and their papers, the first student is studying tensions between community members and police. Maybe they focus on actual shooting that took place, of an officer shooting somebody, and how the communities responded. And maybe it was a very similar action in both communities, but the communities responded differently. And so you're highlighting just the different choices and circumstances that led to both what happened and the reaction they got. And so that maybe there's some lesson to be learned. In the case of, I guess once again, shootings, so the school shooting, people definitely look at this topic because as this becomes something that is unfortunately just kind of part of our reality now, people want to come up with best, strategies to protect students. And so you might take a couple of historic cases of a school shooting and really try to understand how different actions of the actors involved led to better and worse outcomes so that we might have more informed strategies or plans or training for students and teachers and school security guards for when the next one strikes. And then lastly, parenting and technology. Again, we want to find some specific events. Maybe there was a case of school bullying that led to some kind of either tragic outcome or school sort of outcry, public outcry, some media headlines or something because of something that happened. And you want to look at that historical event, turn it in all angles, and you want to try to gain that key takeaway, that those, maybe it's a leadership principle or a strategy or technique or a set of choices that are better than a different set of choices. So in this case, it's not just explaining a culture, and it's not explaining an ongoing process. It's explaining a historical event and really trying to highlight the key principle that we can all take as a result of it.